Is going on, everybody? Hope everybody's doing well today. Decided to switch over to a different streaming site to use, hopefully moving forward, because I was using OBS, but everybody. Hope everybody's doing well today. Okay, it looks like we're good. Volume wise, everything's cool wise, everything's copaesthetically good. So, definitely, welcome back to the stream. First of the month, March 1st, 2025. We literally had a really great. We did have a great February. Then we started to kind of slope down a little bit, but we finished definitely above 500 for the month of February. At the time, at the current moment, I can't remember my actual record for the NBA season, at least. When it's pertaining to a record, I don't have a college NCAA college record at all. I'm just kind of just putting picks together and just hoping for the best. And we're winning some days, we're losing some days. So I'm just getting more comfortable with putting picks in for college. But needless to say, is that as far as the NBA, I want to say we are now in the 20s as far as wins for. We finished off with I think 22 or 23 wins and 12 losses, something like that. It's like 22 or 23 wins. I have to really go back and try to figure out the actual record for February, because the last couple of months prior to February were really daunting, really struggle, like started off low and went up high, and last month we started off kind of like down, and we kind of picked it up and finished off around 500. So this month we finished above 500 for the month of February. So I'm really glad about that. And with that, we went 2-0 for the 2 lock picks for the NBA last night, which I will gladly take. And as I always say, will continue to say on these streams, be sure to, I'm gonna come off camera real briefly. Be sure to go follow me over on Twitter at Vortex46 for all of my picks for NBA and college. As I continue to say as well, I'm going to be looking to focus on some baseball stuff for the season to come, hoping to really work at that one. I know that NBA is more my speed when it's pertaining to betting, and college is, I'm getting comfortable with college officially now, in the midst of me having a bit of a struggling weekend last week, like I talked about in yesterday's stream, where Saturday I had 10 picks for college. I went 9-1, and then Sunday I went 2-9, and then Monday I went 0-10. So, but after that, it was like things started to really pick up, and I was like winning some, had a couple of losing days, but like more so under 500, like 2 days in a row. But outside of that, I finished 4-0 last night for college. We can go over that real briefly, real quick. And as I always say over on as I say during these live streams, I continuously talk about this, gonna come off camera again, that you should look to consider grabbing Pickett. This is Pickett over on the sports betting app. It's a free app that you can use that will follow all of your picks for the day, for the week, for the month. Everything that you do gives you a record, daily record, all of that is free. They do have a subscription, but I refuse to subscribe to the subscription. I don't need any more subscriptions. I'm actually looking to more than likely cancel one or two more at some point. But as you see here, like I said, I went, I did go 9-2 last night. Technically should have went 9-1. I ended up adding, if you see there at the top there, per the Pickett site for all of the games, I did have two losses, and the one up top is the one that I really was like trying to find one more pick for the night. I really looked at some stuff, and I'm kind of upset that I didn't take the Hawks game, because I was kind of looking at that game for this specific pick, because over on BetMGM they have a specific pick for the NBA where you can put down for both teams to score 25 points in the first quarter. I was considering doing like a parlay for that pick, but I'm glad I didn't, and I'm glad I shaved off of one of the other games, the earlier games, because the one team only had 18 points. I can't specifically remember who it was. It actually may have been the Cavs game. I'm looking at it real briefly here. Coming back on camera here. I'm looking at it real briefly because I think it was that specific game that I looked at, and I was like, well, maybe no, they scored 25 points in the first quarter. It was somebody had literally like won like 40-18, if I remember correctly. Kind of upset I didn't take Portland and Brooklyn. That was the other game that I was really pushing to possibly take, and I didn't take it. So it was this game. It was this specific game that it was 40-18. There was another one that, like I said, it was the Hawks game. I looked at Brooklyn hosting Portland. I didn't take that, so I'm mad I didn't take that. That one would have cashed for me. So that's what I'm saying. It was either I should have either not put this pick in at all or looked at another game, because pretty much it looks like every other game, except for like one other game, all the teams scored 25 points in the first quarter and open a quarter. So like I said, this one was just like, I just feel like I want to put one more pick in, and this was it. And it was a loss. But as you see, a lot of green straight down the line. College and NBA. Like I said, I went 2-0 for my NBA, my 2 lock pick NBA picks. The first one was the Trailblazers on the road against the Nets. I took their +1. I got it at +1.5 super early, and it ended up shifting because originally they were the dogs, and they ended up changing probably because Cam Thomas was announced to play maybe a few hours prior to the game. And I was even going over this pick yesterday's live stream, where I was talking about how the pick pretty much I wasn't paying attention because I was up there I got the pick +1.5, blah blah blah, this is it. But then I was like, well, hold on, something's different, something's weird, something strange. And it was like, oh, it's right here. It's 2. Portland's now -2.5. So either way, if you would have grabbed them earlier where I grabbed them at, or just before the game started, you would have cashed. It went -2.5 before the game started. So, and it worked out because Portland literally just won, I think, most of the game. I don't want to believe that they possibly won the fourth quarter, but I know for a fact they opened the first quarter, they won 33-25, and then they won the second quarter 31-22. Okay, so then they they flopped and switched to Brooklyn winning the third quarter 35-27, but then they won the fourth quarter 30-20. So yeah, so I was just like, I found it interesting. But that lock pick hit. The other lock pick was for Desmond Bane to score 20 points last night at home against the New York Knicks. We ended up losing that game. I was like, man, we were I thought we kind of were in a good spot here against the Knicks, right? But it is what it is. We opened the quarter 32-25. We lost the second quarter 31-27, and in the third quarter we won 29-26. A little bit lower than the other two the first 2 quarters, but then the fourth quarter is where we lost 32-25. So we lost by 1 point, but I think we did cover Knicks covered the number 2.5. They were the dogs in that game. So like I said, I kind of felt comfortable with that pick, and at least Desmond scored. What did he score? 24 points. So he finished with that. Ja got 25. Jackson looks like he's been slowing down, because I remember he had 3-4 games in a row, I think last month or something like that. He was scoring 30 plus a game type of thing. So that was that. So that lock pick hit. And as you see, like I said, other picks that went through. I did a dual pick for the Pacers game. I took the over on the game itself against Miami, just because they were scoring a lot of points for both teams, and then plus Pacers, their defense, they allow points at the end of the day. They allow teams to score on them, whether at home, whether at away. They really do allow points to be scored on them, because I felt really good about that pick, and I decided to do another pick with them going over their team total points. So both those cashed. It was 225.5 where I grabbed that at a drop down to 223.5. So that either way, whichever one you would have picked, it would have cashed. And then Interesting pick here that I took for the Toronto Raptors. It was from to go under 118 and a half on 119 points, right? The first half they had like 60 plus points. Let me go look at this here because I was paying attention to the score at the time. So yeah, they had 30 points in the first quarter, 33 in the second. So they scored 63 points to Chicago's 54. So it was just like it was actually going in a trajectory of possibly going over the 119, right? Then they scored 27 points in the third quarter, but they tied with Chicago. They both had 27 points in the third quarter. But here's the kicker. Chicago scored 29 points and Toronto scored 20 in the fourth. Toronto was struggling to really find points later in the third and in the fourth. That's why they only had 20 points in the fourth quarter. Like I said, I was paying attention to the scoring in this game, but I fell asleep. And when I woke up, found out that they went into overtime. My initial thought was, yo, you finished with 115 points. You went into overtime. You couldn't score 120 points. This is some interesting stuff that happened in Toronto, in Chicago last night, where Chicago won 125 to 115. So I just, I sit back and I'm just like, man, like, okay, that happened. I'll take the win, but maybe in the next game, whatever game that they're playing in the next game, whether at home or on the road, maybe they'll fix some things and score more than 115 points, because that was just weird for the second half for Toronto. And I literally, like I said, I was sitting there, I was like, this is probably going to go over. But again, when I was really looking at this, I was like, yo, they only have 104 points, I think it was like mid fourth quarter. And I'm like, they're not scoring. Like, why aren't they scoring? Chicago's coming back. Something's going on. So that was that pick for that one. And I think that was, okay, let me just double check here. Going over. Let me come off of camera again. So the other side of things was I ended up going back to Denver again. I ended up taking the under because the under had been hitting in Denver's like last 4 games or something. I think they went 4 straight games. So Denver, it was 237 and a half right here, as you see. And I ended up grabbing it at 237 and a half, but it ended up dipping up to 239. So when I saw that move, that's when I started to consider like, oh, maybe this might go over. Because also too, Detroit have been causing the under hit. They've been playing really good defense. But Denver's defense sucks too. So it was just like, that's why I was like, I kind of feel comfortable with taking this pick. Probably, maybe they'll both score roughly around over 110 points. Maybe, and either way, maybe Denver will win or maybe, Detroit will win. So a few factors were at the time were making me like, oh, this under, I feel at least decent enough about this pick. But as you see, it didn't happen. 253 points were scored. Denver wins 134 to 119. And yeah, I should have, because I thought about it real briefly, but I didn't check it. I was thinking about taking Detroit on their team total over. They scored 119 points. I kind of feel like that they possibly went under the number at 119, but I really wasn't sure if Denver was going to score, 120 plus points, and they scored 134. So that's what I'm saying. Like, I really didn't see Denver scoring that many points last night on the road, but it happened and they got the win. But that's pretty much all of the basketball. But I went 4-0 on college last night. Going back off camera, so I felt really good about Dartmouth at home against Yale. The numbers were pretty much all 4 of my picks. The numbers were really just like there. And that's kind of how I feel about my picks for today for college. I have 6 picks for college today. But I looked at this specific pick and I was like, yo, like Dartmouth, if they lose, I don't see them losing by this 8.5. I don't see them losing by 9. But it all just depended. And really, if you really paid attention to the game like how I was, Dartmouth was there for most of the game. They did go down by 10 at some point in the second half, but they picked it back up. It's just that they allowed Yale to score 72 points. So I just felt really good about that one, and it cashed, and they lost by 8. So that half a point really came through. The under in the Fairfield team total under, I felt really good about this one, just simply because, again, the numbers, everything was looking right for me to take this when they're at home. They've been not scoring 70 points. I think they only scored it like twice over the last 10 games, and they were technically averaging like 64 points over the last 5. So when I really looked at the numbers, and I was like, I kind of feel like this could happen, that they can, I wasn't sure if they could win the game. I wasn't sure if they could cover the number itself, but the under, at least at the 71.5, really looked really well. So I decided to go with that one, and that one did indeed cash last night. So that's those 2 picks, and the other 2 for college, because again, like I said, everything was feeling right with the 2 picks. 2 spreads. Marshall was the original first one that I grabbed here at the bottom in the beginning when I first started taking my picks last night. And that's the thing. Appalachian State is actually a really good defending team. And I still felt really good about the Marshall pick anyway. -2.5. The number didn't move at all throughout the entire time from the time I grabbed it. I think it was like the night before I went to sleep, all the way until literally the game. That number, as far as I could tell, I think maybe it did budge up like a half a point or 1 point, but it really was staying at this 2.5. And I just felt really good about this for Marshall at home, because they really have been kind of covering, not covering, but I think they were just above 500 with the covering at a number at home at least. And Appalachian State was a team that, in the midst of them playing some good defense, I want to say that their offense was something that played a key role in the factor of why I decided to go with Marshall for the -2.5. And as you saw there, they won 75-57 at home, so that worked out. And the other one that really worked out was, I ended up going with Ryder here, coming back off camera. Ryder here at +9.5. Felt really like a really smart play to go with that pick on the road against Merrimack. They have been really just covering that number over the last few games, while Merrimack had been struggling to really cover anything, really. Like I think they lost a few games too while trying to cover. So it was just like, it felt like the best spot for me to take Ryder here for that specific pick. So that's pretty much the reasons why I went with the picks that I did yesterday for college. And yeah, like I said, 9-2 overall. If I really should have went 9-1 had I just decided to not go with that extra pick for the NBA. But I'll take the 9 wins either way, and accept the 2 losses, and we move on to today's picks. So here's the thing: I have 6 college picks in right now. All of them I pretty much finalized just before the stream. Mostly all of them, or actually all of them, I did post on my Twitter account here. But the thing about it is, I don't have any NBA picks yet. So I decided to say, you know what, today I'm feeling froggy. I'm going to go on here, and I'm going to go on this live stream. We're going to work on some live NBA picks, 2 lock picks for sure, and then probably either 2 more lock picks, maybe the total of 10 picks, or 6 picks for the NBA to kind of even it out, to make it a good 12. Because there are 6 games. I should be able to find something for all 6 games, to be honest, but we'll see what happens with that. So let's dive into the 2 picks for the 6 picks for college for now. Where are we? Just making sure that I'm following because I put all of this in order. So let's go. Like I said, we're going to go with college first, and let's go with the very first pick that I picked. Is actually a late night game. I grabbed this the day before. I grabbed this actually the night before. Oh, actually no, it was yesterday at work. I was able to put this in because I wasn't paying attention. There's 121 games today. I wasn't paying attention to my pick because I put it in. I initially was looking at it. I was like, this actually looks really good, right? But then I was like, oh wait, that game is for tomorrow. Let me not pick it. And then later, like maybe a couple hours later, I was like, oh yeah, I got to put the pick in for that one that I was looking at. And when I went to go put it in and I hit place bet, it dawned on me, wait, that pick is for tomorrow. Why am I picking this pick for, thinking that it was for, last night? So I got ahead of the game, which maybe it might work out because the value for it and everything moved. I'm trying to find it. Where are you? Here we go. So, come on, camera. So it's Arizona heading to Iowa State. Arizona's 19-9, 13-4 for the conference, while Iowa State is 21-7, 11-6 per the conference. So I decided to go with the number. Now it looks like the number changed again. So I decided to go with the number, but I grabbed this. I'll show you here on my Twitter. I grabbed this here on FanDuel here at plus 4.5. This was, like I said, this was yesterday when I put it in. FanDuel 4.5. As we see here per the pick, when we look at this let's look at Iowa State at home. The last 10 games. Wait, hold on. Sorry, there we go. Sorry, my laptop was being weird. Last 10 games, Arizona State has been okay. So this is what I've kind of figured out better for the pick. So this is the number specifically here on the right that we're on, but this is the actual numbers that they've been covering here next to this stuff. So ATS, they're not 9-1. It would say that they would be 9-1 per this specific number, but they're actually so they're 50-50 when covering a number, 5-5. But technically the last 5 games, they are 2-3 when covering a number. In the back-to-back games, they haven't been able to cover the bigger numbers either. Well, technically all these last 5 games, they haven't been able to cover the number really, except for two games, right? So that's that. But Arizona away have covered the number 4 out of the last 5 games. Now they haven't covered any big numbers at all because they're, as you see, the numbers were 2.5, 3.5, 6.5, or whatever. So the number was plus 4.5. Like I said, I grabbed it yesterday while I was at work, but the number changed to plus 6.5 this morning when I woke up, and I was like, well, I'm kind of glad that I grabbed it where it was to see. We'll see what happens with that. But at the same time, the number now is sitting at 6. So I looked at this and I was just like, okay, we can look at the head-to-head matchup. Last game was earlier this year, back in January. Arizona was at home. They covered the number 86-75 per the final score. But again, Arizona just looks really, really good on the road the last 5 games compared to Iowa State at home where they're 2-3. Again, back-to-back games where they've won, but they haven't been able to cover the number. So I figure they're supposed, on paper, they're supposed to be the better team. But I figure that Arizona can still win this game. And I still feel like Arizona can at least cover the number if in the loss. But the crucial thing to note is, again, that the number did move to 6 instead of the 4.5. So it's going to be interesting to see. There must have been something, an injury or something. I don't know. Something must have occurred to where the number dipped up some. So I'm just going to go on ahead and chalk that up as a hopeful win anyway. Next up that I decided to go with was for a over. Let me whoops, didn't mean to do that. There we go. Actually, let me come back on camera. So the next up is an over. This one's going to be interesting because of something specific. Hold on, let me give me 1 second. So I took the over, got this over on Caesars. minus 110 for Youngstown State at Northern Kentucky for it to go over 142 and a half. It actually changed. The number changed, I think, like an hour ago or something like that, hour and a half ago when I was looking at this again. But let me come back on here. Oh, wait, hold on. Does it tell me the... I think Caesars tells the time. So 1 o'clock. Like I said, there's 121 games today. So it's just like, man, like we are, as far as college, you know, you're eating well with whatever you decide to pick as far as choosing what to watch or what to pay attention to or whatever the case may be. All right, so Youngstown State. So the number ended up fluctuating. It was 142 and a half when I got it yesterday, or last night, should I say. Like I said, I grabbed it on Caesars minus 110. So the number changed, and it actually changed to it dipped down to 141 and a half, if I remember correctly, but then as you see, it dipped up to 143 and a half, minus 125 over on DraftKings. So when we look at this here, Youngstown State on the road, they've been kind of struggling to cover the number. They're 4-6 to covering it over. Last 5 games, 2-3, but Northern Kentucky also too has struggled to cover this number. The last 10 games, they're 3-7. The last 5 games, though, they've covered the number 3 out of the last 5. So I looked at this and I was like, well, both teams didn't cover the number the last game. Both teams scored, you know, Northern Kentucky, both teams were for that one, it was they totaled 128, while Northern Kentucky's total was 138. So both teams had an under, struggled to really score. I think both teams won, though. Yeah, both teams won on the road. Well, yeah, won the last game. So I kind of just feel like, and even over here on the right, I also looked at this stuff too. So defense-wise, this is what they're doing defense-wise. They're holding teams, Youngstown State holding teams to 72 points, while Northern Kentucky is holding teams to 72 points. So it's literally around the 144. So I just figure, like, for both teams, when I'm looking at something like this, I say, okay, Northern Kentucky, they're roughly averaging around 70 plus points. There was one game over the last 5 games they scored just under 60, and then there we go. And then Youngstown, they are, as we see, they're averaging probably around like 75. They scored under 72 times out of the last 5 games, but they've went over like the 70 plus mark 3 times. So I personally just feel like that this could go over the number. Again, like I said, I grabbed it at 142 and a half. If I remember correctly, it dipped down to 141, then it dipped up to 144. So this is kind of making me feel like that this could go over the number tonight or today, for this 2 p.m. game here. So we will see how that turns out. Next up is, I took the next 3 picks, or the last 3 picks for today. Actually, it's 4 picks actually. That's 2. So these next 4 picks are all spread picks, but a different type of spread picks for the most part. So the next one up is going to be the Texas Tech at Kansas. I grabbed them to cover the number, plus 4.5, minus 105. So let's get there. Seeing if this will this first one will stick and stay. So this was a 2 o'clock game. So where are you? 2 o'clock. So we're at the 2 o'clock mark. I'm looking for Texas Tech. Where are you? There we go. So Texas Tech. Coming off camera again. So the number didn't move. Hasn't moved at all. Like I said, I grabbed it at plus 4.5 for them to cover the number. But again, I grabbed it on Caesars minus 105. That was the best value at the time. But it's now minus 110 over on FanDuel. So as always, when we look at this stuff, Kansas, main reason why I grabbed this, at home. So they have covered the number 2 out of the last 5 games. And they're 7-3. Well, so excuse me. So they are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 5 to the number the last 10 games. The last 5 games they're 2 and 3 to the number. While Texas Tech away, they are 3 and 2 to the number over the last 5. So head-to-head matchup, they met last season where Kansas won 79-50. But like I said, I just feel, looking at how they're scoring team to team, Texas Tech on the road, not at home, have been for the most part, keeping the scores close over the last 5 games alone. Kansas at home have blown out Oklahoma State, Colorado, Iowa State. So that's 3 straight games where they won by 10 plus points, and then they had 2 games where one game they won by 4 points. The game prior, which was the 5th game, the first game in these last 5 games, where they lost by 6. I personally just kind of feel like Texas Tech can stay within this game, or maybe go down, but then come back in the second half here and make it do what it do. And if they lose, they're not going to lose by 5. But that's just something that I feel like personally that can happen when we're looking at this. But again, it's all harping on what Kansas is going to do, because again, like I said, the last 3 games they won by 10 plus points. But I'm still feeling really confident about this game. But then we also too, when we really look at this stuff on the right here, per their defense and offensive stuff, Kansas is allowing 67 points, while Texas Tech's offense is scoring 81 currently, and then Texas Tech's defense though is allowing 67 points, while Kansas' offense is scoring 76. So that's why I say this could be a possible under game, possible low scoring game, possibly even still a high scoring game, but still staying close knit with each other, and maybe possibly Kansas still wins the game, but they win by less than 5 points. So we'll see what happens with that specific pick here. Next up is, like I said, the next spread pick is Richmond. I got this on BetMGM. I think I have 2 BetMGM picks. I mean, not BetMGM, Bet365. Let me see. This is actually, I think this is a 2 o'clock game as well. The only thing I don't like about Outlier is when you back out, it doesn't stay in the spot where you were. So you have to come back on camera. You have to wait and keep waiting. Once it pops up, then you got to scroll back down. So again, this is a whole bunch of games that you got to try to refine your spot here. Let's see. Okay, so this wasn't too bad. So, like I said, this is Richmond, but I decided to go with the first half spread. So I have I think 2 or 3 picks first half spreads moving forward that I decided to really look at and say maybe I can test my first half spread picks for today. So Richmond, I grabbed this on Bet365 minus 110 for them to cover the first half at plus 8.5. So let's go to the game. Now, granted, the spread itself is 14.5. It like fluctuated. I think it was 14 at one point or 13.5 or something like that. It fluctuated. There was another pick that was like high, and I was like, well, maybe I could do the spread. But I was like, you know what, I'm gonna just go with the first half. I wanna like test the waters here with this stuff. So Richmond, they are excuse me. Richmond is 10-19, 5-11 in the conference, while Dayton, the Flyers, are 19-9, 9-6 for the conference. This is what I decided to do. So hold on, where are you? Where are you? There we go. So game lines, first half. There we go. First half spread. So it just shifted to. So what I got it on BetMGM -1. So either way, this was the first one. I was like, let me get Bet 365. I keep saying BetMGM. So Richmond, the last 10 games, they are 6-4 to covering the number first half. Last 5 games, though, they are 3-2 to cover the number first half. But Dayton, let's look at them at home. Last 10 games, they're 3-7 to covering the number first half. And they're technically now, though, they're 1-4 to covering the first half spread, covering the first half number over these last 5 games. Here's the kicker, though. When we look at the offense for Richmond, they're only averaging 67 points per game, while at the same time, Dayton's defense is allowing 70 points. But then Dayton's offense is scoring 74, just shy of 75. But then Richmond's defense is allowing 72 points. I personally feel like Richmond, even though, again, Dayton is technically on record the better team with 19 wins, 19 and 9 losses, I personally feel like that Richmond can come in here. They can cover this number. I don't know if they're going to win. Like, say they'll cover the first half and then maybe possibly still lose the game. I don't know. But again, this is just what it's showing for the first half for these lines here. So it's just like, I just personally just feel like Richmond could come in here, handle business. They did last game against St. Joe's. They did lose by pretty much almost by 20 points. They lost by 17. So so I just think that Richmond can just handle business here, because they've covered a little bit more than they have when it's pertaining to the number here. So give me Richmond on the plus 8.5 at Dayton. Next up is a first half spread. This one's an interesting one. This one I was really going back and forth with. Like, guys, I was really going back and forth with this pick. I seriously was like, I looked at it last night. I woke up this morning and re-looked at it like for another whole hour, just really trying to find some stuff. Plus, I was kind of like watching something on my laptop here while I was like working on my stuff. But I was really trying to find and figure out if I wanted to either take the first half spread, the spread itself, the over the for the total. I was really trying to find out what I really wanted to do with this pick here. This is a 2:00 game, but something in me was saying like, you should really take the first half, just go with the first half. So that's what I decided to do, and I decided to go with the team that is at home. Like, they're at home. So when we look at, coming back off camera, I keep coming on camera to coming back off. When we look at this here, Furman, they're the better team. The Paladins, they're 22-8, 10-7 to the conference, while Wolford Terriers are 16-14, 10-7 to the conference. So again, like I said, I went with the first half. Like I said, I was looking at the spread because it's a low number. It's 3.5. I don't think it really changed any at any time at any point. When I was looking at this from last night to today. But Furman is the underdog. They're plus 140. Like I said, I was maybe possibly consider taking Furman for the spread here, right? That's what I was really considering. But I said, well, let me look at the lines for for the first half, and I decided to go with the 1.5 minus for Wolford to cover the 1.5. And here's why. So when we look at Furman away, they've actually been covering a number 6-4 to the number of the last 10 games that covered in the first half. Last 5 games they are 3-2, while Wolford at home also 3-2 over the last 5 games, but they are actually 8-2 over the last 10 games. This is one of the things that really pushed me to taking this number here for the first half, is because they've been really just handling business at home. The last 10 games, it was like literally last they're 2-2 for the last 4 games alone. Technically 3-2 for the last 5. But I really was just like, let me just go on ahead and take this. But we look at this too. Again, this was last season. Let me come off of camera here. This was last season, but Wolford at home last season, they won by 10 in the first half, 39-29. So I just was just like, you know what? I'm just going to go right on ahead. Give me the first half number, minus 1.5. I'll gladly take this number and hope for the best. Hope Wolford at least handle business. We'll see what happens with this game. It may be a close game. It just might be. Because like I said, I was really considering taking that 3.5, but I was like, I really want to test myself with a couple to a few first half spreads. And yeah, I was like, I'm just going to go right on ahead and do this first half pick for that one. And that's what I did. So Wolford 1.5. Actually the last pick, this is it for the callers picks. The last pick, like I said, was the another first half spread here. Cincinnati on the road heading to Houston. This one's going to be a very interesting one, and I'm going to explain why in a moment. But I grabbed this on Bet365 plus 8.5 for them to cover the number on the road. This is a 4:30 game. This is the one that I definitely remember. I was like, yeah. Every time I kept going back and forth with this pick, I kept going like, yeah, what time? It's 4:30. Kept saying it's 4:30. It's 4:30. So I remember this one. It was the other ones that I kept trying to figure out, like what was the times? When did the game start? 2 o'clock, 1 o'clock. Kind of had to really focus, because like I said, these 121 games. There's a lot to choose from. You have a plethora of games. There are games of the day, then there are probably more than likely sleeper games that may be better than the games of the day for today. But here we go. So, okay. So, Cincinnati Bearcats heading to Houston Cougars. Cincinnati is 17-11, the last for their seasonal record, but they're 7-10 to the conference, while Houston is 24-4 and they're 16-1 per the conference. But again, I was considering, really truly be honest, really was considering the number. Cincinnati has been covering, as you see, the last 10 games 9-1 to the number of covering at least the 13.5, right? While Houston has been struggling. But I said, you know what, let me go on ahead and go against the grain and decide to take a different one. And that's the first half. Why? Because when we really look at this, Houston at home, they are now 6-3-1 to covering the number at home for the first half. And they are the last 5 games 2-1 to cover the number. Why? Because the number against Baylor back on the 10th of February was I think it was 8. And so because it was 8 and it landed on 8, if it was like 7.5 or even 8.5, this would have been an actual thing. But because it's 8, it didn't cover. So that's the reason why there's that one, basically like a tie or whatever, or a void type of thing. So, but this is what Houston has done over the last 5 games. 2-2-1. Last 10 games at home, 6-3-1. But again, Cincinnati, they are currently 8-2 to covering the first half spread, this specific number, and 5-0, literally 5-0 last 5 games. They've covered every number on the road, or just in general. They've really been handling business. So that's why I was just like, yeah, that plus I also was paying attention to over here on the right, because Houston's defense, they're only allowing 58 points currently over the last several games, while Cincinnati's offense is scoring 72, but their defense is actually allowing 65 points, while Houston is scoring 75 points. So that's why I was just like, do I want to take the number itself, or do I want to go against the grain and try to see if Cincinnati can at least cover the first half? So I just said, well, maybe Cincinnati covers the first half, but then the second half, Houston decides to wake up and really be like, yo, like, we're at home. We're on home turf. Let's go out here. Because when you look at it too, Houston, let's actually go to the actual game, right? So Houston, when it's pertaining to the scores themselves at home, as you see, a little bit on the low side. There's 68 points the last game, 76 the game before that, 72 the game before that, 81 and 70. The best game that they had was against Utah at home on the 22nd of January, where they pretty much blew the socks off of Utah and shut them down defensive wise. While the last even the last 3 games, you see 59, 65, 63. The game, the unders more than likely, the total more than likely went under the total points and all of that. There was one game again, the 1st of February against Texas Tech, where they lost at home 82-81. So it's just like, you literally consider and just say like, yo, like, it might be smart to take Cincinnati more. So the smart choice would be to take the number. The smart choice would probably, maybe possibly more than likely, take the under. Where's the under sitting at? It's 125. So maybe not take the under on that one. Not on looking at the number. Maybe take the over. So the smart move would more than likely be going ahead and take the spread, going ahead and take the over on the number, because more than likely, possibly, both of those could hit. Cincinnati could cover in a loss. The over can possibly more than likely hit, because Cincinnati, as we're looking here, as you see here, and even Houston, the over has been hitting this 125 8 out of the last 10 games even. So this is like the easier thing. But I know me as a bettor, I take easy picks. I put together easy picks. But I really just love going against the grain and taking risks. This is what it's about here on my channel when it's pertaining to my bets. So I just prefer going ahead and doing it this way. I'll take the first half. Let's see what happens with this pick, and hope for the best for all of the college picks that I have in 46 picks. So with that, we're almost at the hour mark. I usually try to have hour-long streams at least, or a little bit over, but I'm going to try to keep this short and sweet to roughly, hopefully, the next 10-15 minutes, because I kind of just want to rest too and kind of just watch something. There's a movie that I want to watch that a couple people have been telling me to check out. I haven't gotten a chance to. It's called Flight Risk with Matt Damon. I heard it was good. But here we go. Let me come off camera. NBA, time to talk. Let's chat. Let's look at some stuff. The first game is at 6 o'clock. Charlotte at home against Washington. There's 6 games. Brooklyn at Detroit. San Antonio at Memphis. Sacramento at Houston. Milwaukee at Dallas. And Golden State at Philly. So there's plenty of stuff to look at. Some people consider and say that there's nothing to really find. I always find something in anything, to be honest, when it's pertaining to betting. That's just how I flowed and moved. I never can be like, oh, I can't, I'm just not betting this game or whatever. I can still, in the midst of me not picking something, I can still find something like that. It looks like that would be something that I would pick. So, as I always do, I'm just going to go ahead and take the first 2 picks the first 2 games, simply because I can more likely find something in the Washington Hornets game, and I can more likely find something in the Nets Pistons game. This way, I can just kind of work at some other stuff even prior to these games ending or around the time these guys ending. So the Wizards are, and the spread is 4 for this one. Charlotte is favored. The over or the number is 219. Let's see. Interesting enough, when you would look at the right of the screen, Washington's offense is scoring 108 points, while Charlotte's defense is allowing 113. Charlotte's offense, though, is scoring 105 points. Washington's defense is allowing 121. What would you say is a specific pick that I would consider taking for this Wizards game? And Hornets game. So when I look at all of this stuff, Charlotte has struggled to find any ritual way to cover any type of number at home and on the road, because they just been sucking. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go over here and look at the injury report. Brogdon is still out. Sadiq Bey is still out. Jordan Poole is out. LaMelo Ball is game time decision, and as always, Trey Mann and Brandon Miller out for the year. And then I think they have maybe a couple of extra injuries. Nurkic is game time decision. So let me go on ahead. Let me look at something real quick. I'm gonna go. There's an app called The Score. It's free. You can look. It gives you key information on key players and their injuries. I'm gonna go on ahead and look at this game here. Charlotte player stats. LaMelo Ball. He's questionable for Saturday. This was 16 hours ago that this was pushed out. He hasn't played since the 24th at Sacramento. He played 28 minutes, 13 points, 6 rebounds, 9 assists. He did go over his assist prop though. So the key question is, do I want to attempt to try to take a number here, or let me see. Hold on, let me see. Now, again, let me see. Let's look at this. Let's look at first quarter. Let's peep this real quick. First quarter spread, because I'm feeling kind of quarter-ish, first half-ish type of thing for today. So when we look at the first halves, the only time that more recently, again, as you look here, the Hornets are -3 to covering the spread at -1. Again, they're 3-7, but the last 5 games they're 1-4 to covering this number, because they've really been struggling to really do anything, right? But when we look at Washington away, they've been covering this number 4-1 to the number, the last 5 games, and 50-50, 5-5. You know, prior to the last 4 games, they sucked. They were 0-5 before the first. So walking into February, this is why you decide to make key decisions. So I'm gonna go on ahead and I'm gonna take this number for Washington to cover this +1, because they are looking much better on the road than Charlotte is looking technically kind of like at all at home, because they just covered a number at home against San Antonio. Now I've been talking about this on streams. I've talked about this on videos that at the time I think it was like last month, the month prior, Charlotte was a covering machine for the fourth quarter. Like they were above 500, but more recently they've been pretty much sucking, right? So I could have looked at the fourth quarter here for them. The last 5 games. I want to say that they possibly, because I'm looking at it now. And Denver. So the last 5 games, they're 0-5 in the fourth quarter. So whatever success they were having in the fourth quarter for Charlotte as a team and stuff, that's the trend is gone now. They're down. They did recently cover, even covering the first quarter at home against San Antonio on the 7th, right? But after that, it was all away games. So they were on a what is that? 2, 4, 6, 8, 9 straight away games. That sucks. So now that they're back home against Washington, they have 2, 4. They have the next 5 games at home. They're hosting Washington, hosting Warriors, Timberwolves, Cavs, and Nets. So I'm just gonna go on ahead. I'm gonna just take this and hope that hope that Washington can cover this number, but we'll see. Because again, Jordan Poole's not playing. Brogdon's not playing. So it's going to be interesting. They only have Bridges now. Again, Melo is game time decision. If Melo becomes ruled in, then this pick is done. It is what it is. But this is why I'm taking this. This is a risky pick, and I'm going to go on ahead, and this will be the first lock pick for today. Where was that? What was that at again? For the first quarter, opening quarter. This was on FanDuel. So this was no. This is BetMGM. I keep saying BetMGM. This was Bet365. Got to log back in, and as always, all these picks will go on my Twitter after I'm done with the live stream. After I got all the picks that I want. I got to be careful because I don't only have but so much money left on my BetMGM account, which is fine. So NBA quarter. All right. I don't know why it does that. Bet365 sometimes is weird when I'm going to go click on something, go to pull up, and there's no, I go to click on it, it pops up in it, but there's no, you have the amount that you're going to put in. And even, I like that it does save the amount that you have from the last pick. Sometimes I like that, sometimes I don't. But the only thing is that when you click on something, the actual place bet, and under it has the return, it doesn't pop up. So that lets you know that you can't, it will, when you try to click on it, it won't work, which is just kind of strange. So I lock this in. Screenshot it. It's a lock. If you can see it, it's locked in. Well, the light's kind of in the way, but that's it. That's the pick. Locked it in. And like I said, this will be a pick that it's the first lock pick that I decided to go with. So that's that one. And actually, let me grab the information that I'll need when I post the actual stuff on Twitter. All right, that's that one. Next up, next lock pick, like I said, it's going to be second game. Brooklyn at Detroit. Let's make it do what it do. So this is going to be an interesting pick. So Brooklyn has covered this. The number is 11. Brooklyn has covered the number. Let's look at the number. Let's see where it started at and see where it's at, because it's where it's at now. More than likely the number moved. So originally the number started out at 9. This was 3:49 p.m. yesterday. Fluctuated at 9.5. Then it hit 10 last night, 11:31. So I went to bed just before this number hit. Actually, I fell asleep. I was in bed, but I was working on some picks. I was dozing off. I was working on some college picks last night. But yeah. So the number dipped up to 10.5. Then now it's officially at 11. So the key question is Cam Thomas playing? So D'Lo's game time decision. Thomas is more than likely playing again, second game, while Ivy's the only one out for Detroit. I'm curious. I'm wondering if I want to take this number here. Head-to-head matchup per Brooklyn on the road at Detroit. They haven't been able to cover the number at all. Well, technically they would have covered the number if it was sitting here. And then Detroit at home. Well, let me see. Detroit at home. They are 3-2 to the number last 5 games, while Brooklyn is 3-2 to the number as well the last 10 games. So, let's look at the last 5 games. Let's look at the last 10 games. So they're 6-4 over the last 10 games. Detroit at home, they too are also 6-4. You see there at the bottom, Detroit is 16-4-1 over the last 21 games against top 10 defenses. But again, this number is 11. It started out at 9, so it jumped up 2 points. So I'm curious. I'm wondering if this number is going to curious if this number is going to be the one that I go with, or let's look at the team total, because I love, you all know me, I love taking my team totals. I might just do the team total. Let's see. So last 10 games, they're averaging 102 points, just shy of 103. Last 5 games, they're averaging 105. 3-2 over the last 5 games. Detroit is averaging, their defense is allowing 113 points. Head-to-head matchup, though, Brooklyn is averaging 110, 109.8. But the last 2 meetings, again, it was more recent for this year, they went under the number. Under 100. This is more of a safer pick because it sort of kind of looks like they can score this 101 points. Again, more recently, last 5 games, they're actually averaging 105. Head-to-head matchup, like I said, they more recently couldn't score. Again, this was this year. Cam is back. Over here, I could easily go with either one. I could go with that one, or I could go with Detroit scoring, possibly scoring, say maybe 111.5, or dip it down to 112. Last 10 games, they're averaging 123 points. The last 10 games, last 5 games, 123. And Brooklyn's defense is allowing 111. This is 113. So I'm going to go on ahead and I don't think I want to take the number. Because again, this is the second lock pick here that I'm going to go on ahead and take. I'm going to go on ahead and I'm going to test and see for both. I'm going to test Brooklyn's offense. So FanDuel. I'm going to test Detroit's defense. Because as we noticed, Detroit is indeed, they've been balling this year much better than what they have the last couple of seasons. So the lock pick is going to be Brooklyn Nets. $101.5. Oops. Okay, so 101.5. I put it in unlocking and some stuff. Because again, the riskier pick is because they played this year, both games they went under 100 points. So I would rather go with the riskier pick because that's what I love to do. Because if you pay attention to a lot of my live streams recently, a lot of my videos, a lot of my picks are risky picks. Some picks are safer. Sometimes the safer picks hit, sometimes they don't. And the riskier picks hit, sometimes they don't. But I just feel more comfortable with taking picks like this where they're more riskier because it's just much more fun to possibly lose when you want to win. It is just much more fun that way. Locked in. All right, next up. Like I said, I might do 4 more picks or I might do 2, whichever one comes first, because we're way over the hour mark. Like I said, I want to kind of get comfortable, and lunchtime's coming up in a little under a couple hours, and I just want to kind of just chill out and rest and pay attention to some of these college games before these NBA games start, and then kind of just wind down the rest of the day. All right, next up. My Memphis Grizzlies. We balled out the last game, right? We actually went over the look at this. I don't think I'm gonna take our actually no, we went under the. That's right, because I took something. I think it was like 127. Yeah, I think I took this one the last time and it hit, I think. But let's see. 127.5 minus 118 on DraftKings. 122. They've been averaging the last 10 games, and then last 5 games 121. What in the world? Okay. So 121 head-to-head matchup. Look at this. 116, 115.5, but the last 3 meetings against San Antonio, mostly at home. See, mostly away. 2 games they played away at San Antonio this year, back-to-back games of 120 plus points. And beginning of last month at home, they scored 128. Let me look at San Antonio real quick. This might be a little bit of a more quicker pick, but I'm gonna also too look at the number. San Antonio has been struggling to score. So I didn't do that. Let's look at the 117.5 minus 120. So they're averaging 112 points last 10 games. Are 7-3 to going under the number. They're 4-1 going under the number 10, averaging 107. But my Grizzlies defense is allowing 117 points. Head-to-head matchup, we're actually shutting them down. This is actually a perfect pick that I probably might go with. But I want to look at the number. They're averaging 106 points over the last 7 games against them. And even this year, they're 3-0 to going under the number. My Grizzlies are 3-0 to stopping them from making it do what it do. Okay. Let's look at the number. Let's look at the full number, and then let's look at the first half. I want to see something here. So hold on. So we've been struggling to cover the last 5 games, but we are 6-1 to the number over the last 10 games. Wow. San Antonio are 9-1 to covering. So yeah. So when it's pertaining to this game, head-to-head matchup, San Antonio is 2-1, while at home we're 1-1. I mean 1-2. Now again, we did win recently. Most recent one was 128 to 109. The thing is that your boy isn't playing. Wemby's not playing. Let's see. San Antonio, just Wemby's the only one that's out. Gigi is the only one that's game time decision. Because again, I'm not really seeing anything with the game number, right? Let's look at the first quarter here for the spread. So we kind of been struggling to cover a number, even if it's just 1. Interesting. San Antonio has been more so covering 60%, 6-4. Well, technically we're 6-4, but the last 5 games though, San Antonio has been covered. Let me look at this. The San Antonio's 3-2, right? Yeah, 3-2 to the number, while we are 2-3. We are the better team when scoring, a little bit better on field goals and percentage, 2%. Better at, interesting. We're better at rebounding too. Okay, so if this is saying for the first quarter, let's look at the first half then. Same thing. We're even more struggling to cover a number at home. Can't even cover a 5.5 at home. We're 3-7, 1-4, while San Antonio's 3-2 to cover in the first half. I mean, what am I saying? Did I say 1-2? 3-2 to cover a number, and then they are 6-4 to cover in the first half. Again, that is more recent. When did Wemby go out? Let me look at this. This looks like it was a week ago. So it's basically saying it's around the 25th. Or maybe the 26th. Because I feel like it was more recent. So I, when picking something, I really want to take us for like a quarter spreader but I think I'm gonna, oops, I didn't mean to do that. I did not mean to do that. Give me 1 second here. Hold on, let me see something. Let me see something. Give me a second. Let me see. Okay, so first half points under. If I decide to fade them on the under, this is over on DraftKings. They're averaging 54 points. This is 56 and a half. Let's see. Last 10 games, they're averaging 57. But the last 5 games, they're averaging 54. Again, head-to-head matchup. They're 57%. So I'll just go on ahead and do the team total. I'm gonna do 118 and a half. Because again, it actually looks better. Because I couldn't really find anything with the spread. The first quarter was sounding a little better for San Antonio, just a smidge. But I'm gonna go on ahead and test my Grizzlies defense here. Again, head-to-head matchups, beautiful, right? So we will do that. The one thing, like I said, the one thing that stood out was that first half. Just a little bit more. Let me just double look at this again for San Antonio. Houston. Again, they're 3-2. They were at home when they did what they did. Back and back. So the away. Again, the most recent, they're 2-1 when going under the number. But again, this was back in January. This is here. So they had 49 last month, beginning of the month. So this is the now. Yeah. You know what? Yeah, let's do that. Let's go with the riskier pick. Let's do that. We'll do first half. Because again, the easier pick would be to pick their the easier pick would be to pick their team total point under. So I'm gonna do sorry, just had to I don't know what's going on. Let's try it again. So we're really pushing it on this stream. I don't want it to go much longer. I'm kind of try to, oops. Okay, locked it in. It's locked in right here. DraftKings. Spurs under under 56.5 for their first half points. Locked it in minus 105 on DraftKings. And I gotta lock in the so yeah, 56.5 for San Antonio to go under their team total points against my Grizzlies. Let's see if my Grizzlies can handle business. Again, last three straight games, this pretty much this season. They've gone, or last month, should I say, they've gone under the mark, and even they've gone under against my Grizzlies on the road. So let's take that one. Let's see if that one will fit and sit there for positive return. Houston hosting Sacramento. Sacramento, they let me down the last game. They handled business the last game. That's what that is. They really handled business the last game. I'm like, man. Okay, Houston at home. They are 6-3-1 to cover. Well, no, wait, hold on. No. They are 2-7-1. No, 2-7. No, 2. Wait, hold on. Huh. So they're 2-6-2 to cover the number of the last 5 games. Not the 5, but the actual number. I mean, but the number in general, ATS. While Sacramento, they are 3-2, 4, 5, 3, 5, and 2 to ATS. But technically, the last 5 games, they are 1, 2, and 2. While Houston, the last 5 games at home are 1, 2, and 2 to cover the number of the last 5 games. This does not look like a good spot. But Houston at home against Sacramento, they've covered a number twice. But that was last season, early in November of last season of 2023. So I don't think I'm going to go with the number here. Even though Sacramento covered a number the last 2 games, while Houston covered a number in the last game, I don't think I'm going to go with that one. Maybe I can find something for first quarter. Let me see. Or maybe I can find something with the ooh. This actually looks beautiful, right? So minus 115, 1.5. Technically, they've been kind of covering. Both teams have been covering more recently, looks like. But technically, Houston, they are 3-7 to covering this number. This minus 1.5. Hold on. Let me really look at this. Okay, so 4 and 6 over the last 10 games have covered the number of the first quarter. Sacramento are 6-4, cover number of the last 10 games, but they're actually 4-1, cover number of the last 4 games, and Houston is 3-2. Head-to-head matchup. Let's see. Again, this was last year. Well, let's really look on. There we go. All right. So this year, they played 2 games, both of them at Sacramento though. This season, they went 1-1 when covering this number. So actually scored 25 points in the first quarter. But it might be something that I might decide to take on as an extra pick. I might actually do that. Let me look on BetMGM real quick and see where the line is, because I might end up doing that as an extra pick, like how I did with my Pacers pick last night, because I had two dual. Like I said in the earlier stream, I had two picks at the same time. Oh. Okay. Minus 220. I don't think. If anything, I would parlay that with another one, which I might do. Just another game. So I can't really find much with this one. So then the only thing that I can seem to look at is maybe either a player prop or a team total. Actually, Jalen's been grabbing boards. Oh, grabbing and passing. The more focal one would probably be, Thompson here. So what is assist? He's been crushing this. Look at this. Averaging 6 the last 10 games. Ooh. Averaging 5 the last 5 games. It's literally 5. It's plus 120. That's the only thing. This is kind of saying like this could probably go under. And that's why, because Sacramento's defense is only averaging 4, or allowing 4 assists per the position. But he's averaging, he's like literally like getting the passes off, and they're handling business. Head-to-head matchup though, he only hit this once. That was this year. But again, this was compared to the season prior, so you know what? It's been a minute since I've taken a one specific pick at plus value. Let's go on ahead and take this. This is over on DraftKings. Let's do that. I'm gonna go ahead and take this. Because he's been hitting the mark. He's been making the magic happen. It's not him specifically, but his teammates. So if you nix the other 2 games, he's literally averaging on that nose of 5, because this is a totally different season. So compared to last year, where he was getting like what, plus 20 minutes, like roughly around 20 minutes, but now he's averaging, look at this, 40 almost, 40 minutes almost, like 30, 40 minutes a game. So I'm going to take this. This is plus 120, DraftKings. Let's make it happen. Locked it in. It's locked in. Let's do it, huh? That's it. Make it happen. So that's pick 3. 1, 2. So that's that. That's 4 picks. That'll do. I think I'm just gonna go on ahead and call it. If I can find anything else, like I said, I have 10 total picks. If I decide to do the other 2, I'll post them on Twitter. But that's pretty much it. Because I'm kind of getting tired. Kind of want to rest up and put this movie on, and hopefully I don't fall asleep. But yeah, guys, those are the picks. 2 lock picks, 4 picks in total. I said if I find anything else, I will, like I said, with the 2 other games, I will pretty much just go on ahead and make it happen, Captain. So yeah, and I apologize. I wasn't paying attention at the camera, and I should have been showing the actual stuff, but that's okay. It works out. You'll see it. Like I said, follow me over on Twitter at Vortex46 for all of the picks for today, and all these picks will get posted in a short while, and we'll hope for the best for today. But I'm out. Be on the lookout for the live stream for tomorrow, roughly around the same time, roughly around probably between 8 and 9, depending on everything that I have to do.